such sights to show you.
You are all going to die tonight.
This is bad comedy.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
Good evening, my sweet tortured souls, and welcome back to another engine revving, gasoline guzzling, wasteland wandering episode of Hun, Your Geek is showing.
Dude.
Ew. As always, your gracious demonic bitch of a host, Miss Violet Impulse, joined as always for all of eternity because he doesn't realize he's actually in hell. The random man guy, JB.
Oh, well, if I'm in hell, at least the tunes are good.
Exactly. And the thermostat is always turned right the way up.
Yeah, it's toasty.
Always nice and warm.
Toasty.
Toasty. If you know that reference, answers in the comments. So, how have you been, Mr. Random Man?
I've been good, actually. Yeah, I must admit. I am getting there. Slowly, but getting there.
Good. I have been rather well, unpacking and sorting things out and working on a new show over here.
Ooh.
Yes, coming soon, coming very, very soon. Waiting for a certain thing to happen, but it will click and it will drop. But anyway, moving swiftly on with tonight's episode, we're going to jump into that wonderful little bit that everybody loves because you get to hear your own name on the internet and feel a little bit of validation from someone who, quite frankly, is not worth giving validation over. But anyway, it is time for the shoutouts.
Here we go.
And up first, we have Invincigaz, the man from X, our own literal X-Man. And he goes on to say, fun show, you delicious bitches. I had to skip the X-Men chat, though, as I've not caught up yet. Well, I did flash a big spoiler warning right before we started talking about it. So if anybody saw that unintentionally, that's kind of on you. I didn't mind the Spawn movie when I saw it, as I hadn't read any of the comics. But once I found the animated series a hell of a lot better, and I do recommend it. Yes, the animated series from HBO just nails the tone of the comic book perfectly. The big problem I had with the film was not so much the story, it was the fact that they took this character that was quite a graphic and violent character, even for, you know, mid to late 90s. This was an extremely graphic comic book. So the fact that the film got toned right the way down to a PG-13, it was kind of like it was, for comic book fans, it was like when Sylvester Stallone took the helmet off in Judge Dredd. You know, it was a joke moment. It was just like, no, this is not what we came here for.
Don't start me now. Don't start me.
Gaz goes on to speak to you.
Ooh.
Guy. Shake my head. STD, which I'm guessing is Star Trek Discovery.
Well,
is literally an STD on Star Trek. Get ready to put your boxing gloves on. As for the Quantum Leap remake, be glad you didn't witness that car crash. It would have haunted you for the rest of your life.
I enjoyed Series 1.
I think Rogue Squadron movie could be fun, but I think I've checked out on Star Wars and also not get my hopes up about it, as Lucasfilm cancels a lot of stuff. I'd wait for a trailer to get hyped. That is very true. The amount of cancelled projects coming out of Lucas when it comes to Star Wars, like video games, films, TV shows, until you see a trailer, don't jump on that train. Wait there with your ticket. Don't throw yourself on
Oh,
the tracks
fuck the
too
pair
early.
of you. Stop harshing my mellow, pricks.
I'm just saying, I can kind of get where he's coming from. Like, until I see a
No, I'm just
trailer.
saying, fuck off.
This comment keeps going. I really enjoyed the latest Hellraiser movie, and I hear they're making a sequel. Yes, a sequel has been planned, and Clive Barker himself, we're going to talk about this in the later part of this season. Clive Barker himself did say that he was that impressed with Jamie Clayton's take on Pinhead and also the story that was told around that character. It's inspired him to actually go back into the world of Hellraiser and write new stories featuring this version of Pinhead rather than the original, as in Doug Bradley's Pinhead. Now, I think for the original creator to be inspired by something that he was only a producer on, to go back to his original source material and kind of reboot it themselves, that says a lot. Like, if the original creator is moved enough to go, you know what, you've done very well here. Allow me to pick that up and run with it. I'm looking forward to what's coming next
Mm.
in terms of Hellraiser. I really am, because if Clive Barker's back writing them and they adapt his stories into the sequels, you got me. You got me right there. It's Hellraiser with the original creator. I mean, what else? What else? It wasn't the bit. Oh, and also Prey 2, which should be very interesting. Have you seen the teaser yet for Alien Romulus? Looking good. I've not seen anything to do with Alien Romulus. I kind of noped out of the Alien franchise after the, pardon my language here, the shit show that was Alien Covenant. I Fastbender on Fastbender action, fingering and fiddling, just that's not an Alien movie I want to watch. Androids bumping uglies with their carbon copies of themselves. I don't want to. Just, I'm kind of done with the Alien franchise. I mean, when it comes out, I might check it out, but I'm not getting on a hype train. I'm not rushing out to, give it a viewing. It's just when it comes along, I'll see what it's like. I'll make a decision then. Everything from the Alien universe after number three, just Prometheus. Need I fucking say more? But yeah, Prey 2, from what rumors online have been saying, it's Prey 2 No Man's Land and it's set during World War One.
Two, I thought.
I don't know. Literally, I know very little of this outside the fact that it's coming and it's set during war. Because when you see the posters of like trenches and barbed wire and all sorts of stuff, so it is set during a war. We're just not sure which one between the two of us.
Fell, yeah.
But when we hear more about it, we will talk about it on the show.
We will.
Look, looking forward to seeing you soon and to the new show. Also, the new segment sounds like a lot of fun. I love leaving these long messages just to fuck with Vi. Love you, Vi. Love you, Vi. Bye. Well, you just took up 5 minutes of time, guys. So there you go.
Nice one, buddy.
Up next, another long-ish comment, but not as long as the fucking last one. It is, of course, the man, the myth, the beard, the ginger one, the ginger ninja JK, Mr. JK47.
Hello, Jay.
JK. He says, haha, not a dig at all. I actually did watch and forget to leave a comment.
God bless you.
It was just bad timing. Gen V.
Hold on, isn't this the last?
No. This is from 3 days ago.
Okay.
I couldn't have recorded it. Gen V, I did like, don't get me wrong. I simply preferred The Boys much more. Both great shows, but The Boys, I mean, come on. Come on. Ha. Then goes on to say Fallout. Oh, hell yeah. Loved it as a long-time Fallout fan, the OG PC game from 97. This is the most perfect adaptation I have ever seen of a game. Plus, it's just a great show. Yeah, that's kind of the big thing I've been hearing about it, like on places like TikTok and where I usually kind of hang out in the darkness. But a lot of people who have watched it have never played the video game, and they love it. They absolutely love it. They love the storytelling. They thought it was absolutely amazing. But then I've talked to people like myself who have played sort of Fallout 3, New Vegas 4, and I see stuff in the background. I see labels on bottles and things like that. And I'm like, and I'm guessing Guy hasn't watched a single episode.
Nope.
Well then, Mr. Random Man, your assignment this week, should you choose to accept it, is to watch at least one episode of Fallout.
I'm not accepting that. That'd be great, isn't it? If you had Mission Impossible, yeah, I'm not doing it.
You wouldn't be good on those forces, would you? If you choose to accept it, bye, see ya, gone.
Yeah, nope. End credits.
Mission impossible.
Yeah.
Mission can't be bothered.
I'm watching the air. I'm not doing that.
But honestly, guy, I do think you would like it.
Oh, I'm sure I probably would. It's just I have much time.
I know. Right.
Very visible.
Moving on. The very first X-Men comic I read saw the Magneto / Rogue storyline in Savage Land. So this storyline was great. I love the little things they are doing in this series. Yeah, I've been saying this kind of all the way through it still carries that tone and that kind of undertow and that message behind everything that's going on.
But more of that's in the relevant section.
More of that in the relevant section, but it does definitely. Sure. As for Gambit, I have a theory. It involves Sinister and Apocalypse. I've been hearing this rumor too. Much like how Sinister brought Morph back. The prevailing rumor online is that Gambit is going to get brought back by Sinister, but then handed over to Apocalypse to become his new Angel of Death. Which, like I said last week, I hope they stick the landing and I hope they don't do that. I hope they leave Gambit dead. But more on that when we get to that bit in a minute. Okay.
Yep.
Great vid. Recast The Walking Dead in the 1980s.
Oh.
Right.
We have a problem from the get-go. I've never watched a single episode of The Walking Dead.
I watched up to season 3 and then noped out. So the only character that I can think of that if it was remade in the 80s would be a good casting choice for back then is Daryl Dixon, played by I was talking about him earlier.
Played by someone.
Oh shit.
Ronnie Corbett.
No. I was talking to my daughter about him earlier and now I can't remember his fucking name.
Michael Elphick.
The actor. Oh god, the actor played Daryl Dixon. Shit. Fuck it. Anyway. Well,
Sid James.
Right, we can't do it this week, so we'll thank you for the suggestion because Guy's never seen it and I can't think of the fucking actor's name. I hate when this happens. I talk about them earlier in the day and then my brain goes to retrieve it. It's 404, file not fucking found.
Neil Morrissey.
It's not Neil Morrissey. No.
Can we
Norman Reedus.
There you go.
There. Norman Reedus, right? Played Daryl Dixon.
Yeah, you got there in the
bless you. The only recasting I can think of would be him, and if it was going to be made in the 80s for that part, I'd say a young Josh Brolin. Because he had that kind of look about him back in the late 80s. You know, bit shaggy hair, bit rough looking. I think he could have pulled it off. And Rick Grimes probably would have been like someone like Bruce Willis or something. I don't know. There we go. Walking Dead, we did it.
Yeah.
that this segment of the show is not taking off very well.
Pick something we've watched. Oh, she's gone. She's gone, folks. Oh dear.
My brain was just like a car just crashing into a fucking brick wall on slow motion. Just I was like, no, this is just falling apart.
Crash test dummies everywhere.
Yeah. Right, moving swiftly on with the comments because we do have more, believe it or not. I'm trying to get through them. I'm trying to get through them. Right, up next.
Okay, very trying.
Up next, we have my wonderful partner in crime, my love, my Sue. Yes, remember I'm watching. Great episode. See y'all in the next one.
I feel it in my fingers. I feel it in my toes. Love is all around you. And so your arsehole glows. I mean, oh yeah, I forgot to. Oh, I'm not supposed to mention your glowing arsehole, am I? Oh, sorry. Forget that bit, folks.
Oh, I came up with a very appropriate joke for me today.
Oh,
What
is
does
it about a cactus?
what does a man have in common with a pineapple?
You?
Both of them are a pain in my ass. Moving swiftly on, we have Son of the Pertwee from the Retro Movie Zone bouncing around his little TARDIS that has got stuck on traffic cone mode. It is, of course, Tony Harris.
Big toe.
Yes. He goes on to say, hey guys, great episodes as per. So much for me to talk about on next week's movie and TV zone. I'm going to check that out on a Saturday morning like I always do.
Me too.
Love guys rant. What a potty mouthed, sweary, booze fueled outburst that was.
You have met me.
It was massively entertaining when it's always massively entertaining when one of you goes off on one, but this one and Violet's last verbal explosion were, to put it mildly, of epic proportions. Keep them coming, as you can't be a good old mode. We're going to get to that in a little bit. Don't you worry, Tony. That this one is close.
I did get somewhat vexed last week.
Mm-hmm. Violet, you mentioned something about an award. I had my acceptance speech ready, but I must have missed it. Looking forward to finding out what I've been awarded. My quick response was, you're the winner of the 2024 Victim Eldring Lookalike Contest.
Nice.
And Tony's very rapid reply was, I'm honored to be receiving this prestigious award, and I'd like to thank everyone who voted for me, especially Guy. Laughing face, laughing face. I don't bloody believe it.
Yes. And you're also going to be the recipient of the annual Golden Pineapple Award.
Mm-hmm.
But you may not
carved into it as we speak.
Yes, you may not like receiving it.
Mm-hmm. And that, my sweet tortured souls, is the end of the shout outs.
Hey.
So, moving quickly on, we're going to go to that next segment of the show. The question asked since the dawn of time, when a mammoth was stomping down the street and he saw next to him a saber-toothed tiger. And he said, excuse me, mate, what have you been watching?
And the saber-toothed tiger said, fuck all.
Came from. I do apologize. My sanity is questionable today.
Today?
My sanity is questionable only on days ending in Y.
Yeah. So, who's going first?
I will let you go first. What you been watching, Guy?
I've been watching some more of that there Supernatural.
Me too. Me too. I was actually watching
As,
some before I jumped on with this. So,
as the adjudicator melts into paroxysms of joy
mm-hmm.
at the sight of that there Jensen.
Mm-hmm.
And now she's nodding and grinning.
Mm-hmm.
And she's doing something with her fingers. Oh, whoa, yes, now she's pointing at me. Whoa,
Yes. Behave.
whoops, went a little too
You don't
far.
want to get put in the cage again now, do you?
Maybe I do.
We still
Maybe I
haven't cleaned it from the last time.
Well, yeah, that's true. You know. What else have I been watching? I have, of course, watched The Bad Batch season 3. That has continued and is rather bloody good, actually. The season's really bringing it on.
Yeah, good, 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 good.
Now let's see what else. Fucking hell, what else? Yes, that does bring us to X-Men
Yes,
97.
I've also caught up on that, and I've also watched Supernatural. But we'll talk about X-Men for a quick minute here. Slight spoiler warnings. By the time this episode is uploaded to YouTube, the next episode will out, and everyone will be giving spoilers about that one. We're a week behind. I don't care, but
Yeah, fam.
we'll talk about this one.
Guys, stop listening now.
The return of Charles Xavier, the fact that our planet gets referred to as a Milky Way ghetto, not once but twice.
Mm,
Um,
they don't like him. They don't like us,
uh,
them Shias.
I kind of have mixed feelings about this episode. I honestly thought that they were going to keep Xavier out of this a little bit longer than they did.
Yeah, I would have liked my taffy to have been pulled up a little more.
Because I mean, it doesn't feel that it's forced or anything like that. It's just I don't think it's the right timing for him to
Mm,
show up. I mean, very much like they did with Phoenix Saga, where he had sort of the visions and the flashes of Lalandra before he actually met her. I think they should have done kind of the reverse of that, where he's out there in the stars and he keeps getting these flashes of stuff that's happening back at home. And
mm.
that's what draws him back. And they could have done it slowly over several episodes, but this episode just felt a little bit exposition dump with this is what Charles has been doing.
Yes, but let's look at the positives.
It was a fucking good episode.
Storm
Storm
gets her powers back.
I loved that. That was what I was just about to say. That part of the episode for me was
And Storm in the black 70s outfit.
yes. And I seen it on.
Awesome.
I seen it on somewhere. They finally ended the debate of whether or not Storm's that costume was black with silver highlights or silver with black highlights. It finally put that debate to end.
Yeah.
But yeah, that costume though.
See, that was proper fan service.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been reading a lot of people moaning as well that Wolverine's being ignored. But to be fair, he was pushed to the front of most of the original run.
I was gonna say it's not
I'm
just
not
for me. Go on, you finish your
I'm
thought. I'll carry on.
I'm not railing against it. It's fine.
No, I kind of agree with what you said just then. Like he was kind of, he wasn't at the forefront all the time in the original series. He was in a lot of episodes, and he was, there were several episodes dedicated to just him.
Yeah.
But I think after all of the films where Wolverine was the poster boy
Yeah.
basically for all the live action films, right the way through to Logan, which obviously it's his film, he's got to be the poster boy. But you know what I mean? It's like every X-Men film, he was the front and center of each poster. He was he was literally the poster boy for the X-Men franchise for a good 20 years. So there's probably a lot of people who are like, they're not focusing on him so much. No, because they've already done that.
Yeah.
The idea of this series is to, one, bring in a new generation of fans. Two, continue storylines that were set up in that original series. And three, give newer characters as also older characters that didn't appear as much, like in the background in cameos and stuff like
Mm.
that. Give them more screen time because we know all about these characters. We know everything about Wolverine. Let's bring in some characters we don't know too much about.
Yeah, exactly.
Nightcrawler's starting to get a bit more attention and a bit more love.
Mm.
That I'm happy with.
Nightcrawler in the credits.
Exactly my point there. That I feel that's building to something.
Mm.
So, you know, I'm hopeful going forward. I didn't so much like the Charlesy stuff. It was okay. It just felt a bit too soon for me.
I did enjoy him bollocking Gladiator for not raising his hand.
Oh, and
That
when
was
he threw the apple into Warbird's mouth.
mm.
Uh, yeah, teaching them like a class, which, I get it. I get it.
He does.
But yeah, it was a good episode. The Storm stuff was definitely the better part of the episode, though, for me.
Mm. Yeah.
The child stuff, like I said, I didn't hate it. It just felt a little too soon. Like, that should have been its own episode. That should have been the next episode after this one. It should have been, the focus should have been Storm getting
Mm.
her powers back.
Do we know how many episodes there are?
Um, Off the top of my head, I'm not 100% certain. I would have to check the facts online.
Mm.
If I do some fact checking before this episode airs, I will put it at the bottom of the screen in our little blackout zone. I'll put it down
Mm.
there how many episode run it is. I vaguely remember reading or seeing somewhere that it was 10 episodes, but I could be wrong.
Mm.
Don't hold me to that. It's not gospel. I will fact check and I'll put it at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's X-Men 97.
Nice.
Yes, and as said earlier, I watched Fallout. I watched the first episode last Sunday. I just binge watched the whole thing,
Mm.
all 8 episodes, and it definitely keeps getting better because the story follows three separate characters and they kind of all intersect at different points.
Mm.
I'm not going to do spoilers, but when it gets to the end of the series, those kind of tendrily things extend a lot further than you realize. There's a lot more going on by the end of. Well, I think this is the end of the season. This is the weird thing. It says on Prime all episodes available now,
Mm.
and there's 8 episodes. But I've been hearing rumors online that there are another 8 episodes set to drop later in the year. But I've not double checked that because
Mm.
it seems to me, and I talked to one of my friends in my gaming group about this. 16 episodes for one season this day and age does seem a little bit long,
Yeah.
considering most like Stranger Things and stuff like that run for 9 episodes a season.
Yeah. That's something I've left behind on now.
But like, I hope there's more of it coming because it does draw you in. You do want to see what happens to these characters. They are likable characters. The
Mm.
character of Lucy, for me, is very much the audience player character.
Right.
She's the one that goes out into the wasteland. She's naive of everything that's up there. She grew up in a vault. She's never been to the surface. That's the general setup for like Fallout. What?
I don't
Pretty
know.
much all of them. The third one, especially, it's the big setup for the third one that you were raised in a vault. You've never been outside. Blah 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 blah. So that I love. The other
Mm.
characters, the Ghoul and Maximus, the Knight, the Brotherhood of Steel Knight. I don't know whether it's the actor or it's the material he's been given to work with. Out of the three, I like him and his storyline the least. It's very frat bro humor,
Yeah, yeah.
and that falls flat with me every goddamn time. But anyway, that's enough about Fallout.
Cheers. Because I said so.
So then we'll move on to the meat of the episode.
Mm.
Yeah. Mm. We are going to talk about a wonderful little Australian franchise that kind of came out of nowhere in 1971 and 1979. Blew a lot of
1971.
no, it was 79. I stumbled my words. Kind of took the world by storm, and I didn't realize this until today when I was checking some trivia. The first film for several decades held the Guinness Book of World Records for being the most profitable film ever made. Now,
Yeah,
for a small little thing, that's a fucking hell of an accolade.
400 grand budget, and it flowed in 100 million. You wonder why there was a sequel?
Yeah, and a
Fucking
eventual trilogy
why?
and then quadrilogy, and there's two more films on the way. One of them a spin-off, one of them a direct continuation. But we are, of course, talking the post-apocalyptic world of Mad Max,
Yes, we are.
the film series that put Mel Gibson on the map, along with Lethal Weapon. It's got to be said. But yeah, Mad Max, the first one, I have the
Mm.
numbers here. Mad Max was released 12th of April 1979. A budget of anywhere between it had two numbers, so I wrote both down. Between 350,000 and 400,000.
I guess, man.
Made over 100, as you said, made over 100 million in US dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
And that's 400,000 Australian dollars.
yes, Australian dollars. So you got to remember that's. But yeah, Mad Max. Right, what can we say about this? We're not going to focus too much on the story because
Yeah, no.
we want to entice when we do these episodes, when we do these franchise episodes, we're trying to entice people in to watch it that might not have seen it. Tony,
No, he's seen them.
is he caught up now?
Yeah.
Ah, see, last time I heard he'd only watched the first one.
That's because he was a silly Billy, and then we all sort of started dogpiling
He saw the light. He saw the light.
it. Yeah, he wanted to everyone to
We'll go
stop.
over the general premise dead quick. It's set not far from now. That's how it states it in the film.
Yeah.
Society is starting to crumble in and on itself and collapse like a file in a cupboard. Max Rockatansky, played by Mel Gibson, is a member of the Main Force Patrol, one of the last vestiges of law enforcement out in the wilds. Due to him doing his job, he gets targeted by a gang. His family get killed. He goes insane, hence the name Mad Max. And he goes out looking for revenge. And that's pretty much all you need to know about the first one without any spoilers. You go and see it. Go and watch it. It is a fantastic freaking film.
I love the first one.
I do. Do you know what? Weirdly enough, like a lot of people, I actually saw the second one first and
I did.
thought it was a film on its own. And that little narration bit at the beginning, I thought that was just a bit like the text crawl on Star Wars. I thought it was this is just a backstory telling you who these characters are. I didn't realize that there was a whole because Mad Max over here when the second one when it first got released over here was released under the title The Road Warrior.
No, it wasn't. It was released under Mad Max 2. In America, it was released as The Road
That
Warrior.
was it, yeah. So I had a little bit of confusion. But then I saw the first one and I fucking loved it. I actually prefer it slightly to the second one because there's something about that descent into madness that you see within Max throughout the whole film that is kind of the hook. It's the reason why you're watching the film. The second one, you're watching it more for the action.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. I mean, it's in the first one, it's the last vestiges of civilization.
Society going down the tube, yeah.
Yeah. And then from then on, it just goes worse.
Gets worse and worse.
And worse and worse.
Yes.
Which I love. I love that sort of, hey, shit's pretty bad. Shit's getting a lot worse.
Yeah, I love the fact that it doesn't get better. It kind of goes back to what I was saying in last week's episode, where I said that more Hollywood studios should stick to that downer ending. Mad Max is kind of that franchise because each one, it doesn't end on a happy note for Max. It does not.
No, he's trying to do good.
Yeah.
But he keeps getting fucked over.
Yeah. But he does get that sweet VA modified black on black interceptor.
The Pursuit Special.
Yeah, the Pursuit Special. Yeah. I love that car. Well, I'll get into a little bit more about that later on, though.
It's a very much a car-porn series of films.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm, hmm
Yeah. The first one, again, absolutely love it. Go check it out. Favorite moments for you guys from the first one, if you can remember any?
Yeah, the toe cutter, the first scene, the toe cutter chase, I think it's just fucking great piece of film.
Oh,
Um,
definitely. All the stunt
the
work.
whole thing at the end as well with the chase, him going after the toe cutter and Bob
Oh,
Zanetti and Johnny
yeah.
the Boy.
Yes, Johnny the
That
Boy.
whole sort of
The main reason everything went bad.
yeah, it's like right, you fucks, and he hardly says a word.
Yeah. Think I think he had something like what was it, 8 lines, toe cutter, something like that in the first one was 8 lines in total.
Yeah,
Something like that.
it's basically. I think the idea that Kennedy and Miller had was they're doing a silent film, but with sex.
Yeah, definitely later in the franchise, it is very much that. Like
Mm,
the music and the background and the score tell the story more
yeah.
than any kind of dialogue would. And I love that, especially Fury Road, but we're
Mm,
jumping ahead there. My favorite bit is it shows Max has finally just snapped and given up all hope. Is he comes across you just said his name a minute ago, not Toe Cutter, Johnny the Boy.
Johnny the Boy.
He comes across him. There's a crash car, and he
Mm,
handcuffs into it, and he sets up the delayed timer thing with his lighter.
yeah,
Throws him a hacksaw, and he's like, "You can cut through those chains in 10 minutes, or you can cut through your ankle in 5," and then walks off.
yeah.
That to me, even though it's right at the arse end of the film, spoilers for a film that is very old at this point. Um, that to me shows Max as that's it. He's lost it. He's gone. It's almost
Mm,
like the first time you see Frank Castle, the Punisher,
yeah, yeah,
put that skull shirt on, and you know that's it. The rules are gone. That's that moment for Max.
yeah,
It's no longer about taking the criminals in and serving justice. It's no, they're bad people.
yeah. Well, they've killed his family.
Yeah,
They've
yeah. That's
killed
what
his
I mean. The
best
whole
mate and his
revenge
partner.
aspect. Hmm?
You know, they've killed his police partner.
Goose.
He
Yeah,
literally has nothing.
they took everything from him,
Yeah.
and I love. Like I said, it's a fantastic film, and it's got a downer ending, which sometimes you need a downer ending because life don't have a happy ending, and it don't for Max. He just once he's
Mm,
done with that gang, he just moves on out into the wasteland and carries on doing what he's doing.
yeah.
It's almost like the old gunslinger thing, the guy who just kind of roams from town to town. He's not affiliated with anyone. He just takes care of the criminals and then off he
The
goes.
man with no name.
Yeah, the man with yeah, it's very the man with no name, but Australia and cars.
Again, that was the Sergio Leone stuff was very much an influence on.
Yes, yes. But then we'll move on to Mad Max 2,
Uh,
the
this
best.
is most people's favorite.
It is most people's favorite. Like I said, this one for me, the first and the second one, they're kind of on par with each other for very different reasons. The first one, I love the story. The second one, I love the action. Although some of it is blatantly Benny Hill style, sped up slightly.
Don't matter.
You can see that in a couple of shots. Like if you put the
What the
Benny Hill
fuck? It was
music
in the
over
80s. It's in the 80s. What are you going to do?
it. Yeah, but like I said, if you put the Benny Hill music over some of the scenes where they've speeded the footage up, it
Yeah.
it matches too well and it is kind of funny.
But
Watching
all
these
those
guys,
cars
just
are real.
yes, the stunts were real. A guy
All the
actually
cars are real.
One of the bits of trivia is there was a motorcycle stunt. A guy was supposed to crash his motorcycle into the side of a car and get thrown over the car.
Mhm.
But instead, he hit the car, his ankles clipped the car, and he flew end on end and crashed into the ground, broke both of his legs in several places.
Yep.
But even the stunt guy said, no, put it in the film because the one thing, and we've said this before on this show, is the more real something looks, the more it's going to get the audience's attention. And that stunt did.
Mm.
It's one of those clips that's replayed on like 101 greatest stunts of all time
Mm.
kind of thing. That one always pops up in kind of the high numbers.
Yeah.
So, it's worth it for that alone. But yeah, I love the whole tanker sequence at the end.
Mm.
That is just one long chase. It's one long chase
Yeah.
for like better part of half an hour. So there you go.
It's a shame we saw the interceptor destroyed, but
That's something I'm going to get onto when we get to the end of the films. I'm going to just bring that up a little bit because it's always something that's bugged the fuck out of me.
uh,
But right, we'll move on to Beyond Thunderdome.
uh, oh dear. Oh no, you've got that look.
I don't like this one. I don't
I
know
don't mind
what
it.
I don't know what it is. It's probably because it was as Mel Gibson was making a name for himself. This one came out. It was what I didn't do the budget for the second one. Oh shit! For Mad Max 2, release date was 24th of December 1981. Great Christmas Eve film.
Yeah.
But if I'd been old enough at that point in time, I'd be like, Mad Max 2, Christmas Eve, fuck yeah, I'm going. But Mad Max 2 released December 24th, 1981. $4.5 million dollar budget.
Mm.
Box office 36 million. So another roaring success. Right, moving on to Beyond Thunderbolts. 10th of July 1985, budget 10 million, box office another 36 million one.
Yeah, see?
The thing I didn't like about this one is Mel Gibson's portrayal of Max felt more like he was doing a slightly gruffer version of Riggs from Lethal Weapon by this point.
Is that just because he had long hair?
No, I think it was more the case that there was just certain facial expressions he pulled. Like there's one bit in the film where he knocks someone out, and before he knocks them out, he did that thing that you see him do in some of the Lethal Weapon films, where he goes to punch and then just goes, bump, like hesitates and then punches him. That kind of became his signature thing. And it happened in this, and I was just like, this feels more like it's Riggs on a bad day rather than it does Mad Max.
Yeah.
But that's just my personal feeling on it. I can understand why people love it. I love the late great Tina Turner's performance in it. I thought that was great.
Mm.
But other than that, it didn't really stick with me. Out of the three, it's the one that I remember the least.
Mm. Personally, I enjoyed it, uh, especially his audition. That's brilliant. Especially where that geezer tries to hit him with a hammer, he just kicks a handle up his balls.
Oh yeah, yeah. That
Yeah.
okay, that bit's good. That bit's good. Yeah.
Angry Anderson gets decked. Oh, bless him.
So to be fair, it has spawned that, the whole thing, two man enter, one man
Oh,
leave,
lady.
and you know, enter Thunderdome. That's been referenced in everything from Buffy to I don't know, freaking EastEnders.
Yeah.
Again, it's a pop culture zeitgeist kind of thing. Anytime two people square up in an enclosed arena, it's like Thunderdome. Okay.
Mm.
But yeah, my
But
least
again,
favorite, but carry on.
it's another one where, again, the soundtrack is providing you with everything you need. The
Yeah.
soundtrack is brilliant on all three.
Yeah, oh yeah, I still listen to the soundtracks now because I've said before, I listen to movie soundtracks, the scores, not the actual songs.
Mm.
And it is one that I will go back to because, like you just said, a lot of the time the music tells the story with the actions. I think that's a sign of how good of a filmmaker George Miller really is in
Mm.
this regard, is that he can have something happening on the screen. There's no dialogue, but the music and the action of what's happening, the story. It goes with it. It kind of you can
Mm.
tell the musical beats are like this is the bit to pay attention to, or this bit's important over here. Like it's very well done. And that's why I kind of love each one of them for that. But the storyline and Mel's portrayal of Max in the third one for me just wasn't there compared to the first two.
Them kids annoyed you, didn't they?
That too.
Ah, I
With
see.
their
Yeah, but
Tomorrowland and all that shit, and the way they
they're descendants of people in a plane crash. They don't know shit. They just happen to live in an oasis. And
I know, but I just
I
think,
do love the way that Max is sort of like, I could fucking live here. This is great.
yeah,
And they want to piss off, and it's like, damn it.
yeah. I mean, well, it's difference of perspective, though. I mean, that's all they've ever known. They want to see what the world outside is like. Max knows what it's like out there. He'd rather be inside.
Yeah.
Wait, should we move on to
Bless him.
Fury Road then?
Mm,
Take it you didn't like this one.
nah. I just,
Well, we'll give you
it
the
was
numbers. It was
it was
released.
great to see Hugh Keys burn back, albeit as a different character. But
Yeah, true. They did get to play Immortan Joe.
yeah,
But the numbers for this one, May 7th, 2015. So, hell of a gap.
oh yeah,
Budget 154.6 to 185.1 million. Box office 380.4 million. So, still another box office success, which is why we're getting two more films.
you can't put a good franchise down.
Mm-hmm. My thoughts on Fury Road, it's definitely the one where, like we just said, the music and everything, that is turned up to 11 in this one for me. That chase through that storm at the beginning is just
Mm,
mind-blowing. And considering they still did a lot of the stunts and enhanced it with digital effects after the fact, that to me is still quite impressive. Okay, a lot of it was
mm,
tweaked afterwards. But on the Blu-ray, if you watch the comparisons, it's literally just like debris and stuff like that, and stuff happening in the background that's been done. All the stunts are done
yeah.
as an actual stunt. So hats off to him on that one. What did you think of Fury Road then?
Just I don't know. Look, don't get me wrong. I like Tom Hardy. I think he's a brilliant actor. I really do. But I just without Mel, it's just wrong somehow.
I think it was the gap between,
Yeah,
it was a 20-year gap. And we said this about Indiana Jones. Um,
a lot of retconning going on.
there was a lot of retconning going on, and I'll get to that in a minute.
Mm,
But it's not that I didn't like Tom Hardy's performance. I liked his performance. I thought he made a good Max. But like you said, because there was such a gap between the films,
yeah.
Mel had obviously got older. He didn't want to come back and do it. He did say he basically passed the torch to Tom Hardy and say, "Yeah, go for it."
Well, he'd also been in the bad books for a few years.
There was that, but we're not going to touch upon that.
No.
But I would have liked to have seen him come back. I mean, with any of these legacy sequels that come out,
Mm,
like Ghostbusters, things like that, it is nice to see the original cast return.
mm,
But recasting is a tricky subject because you're either going to nail it or you're not.
mm.
The recent news I saw is that Sebastian Stan is apparently up for playing Luke Skywalker because they look. I mean, that I can kind of accept. Maybe, I don't know, but no, it's hard to pin down when it comes to Mad Max Fury because it's such a fucking good film. It really is a good film.
Mm.
Stunts,
Oh,
the
it,
action, the
it's well made.
pardon.
It's well made.
It is. It's a brilliantly well made film. And like I said,
And
the music does its job and everything. There is a black and chrome edition you can get of where it's all black and white, so it takes all the color out of it and just tells you even more of the story with the sound.
mm,
Which it is a very colorful film, I will say that. But that kind of works. Although some of the leaps in logic, like you've got this big ass truck with this big ass guitar playing thing on the back of it that's got a flamethrower on it. I thought gasoline was in short supply in this world.
you see?
There are certain inconsistencies and some. Wait a
Mm,
minute. Wait a minute. But it is a good film. there are two more coming out. Furiosa is the
Yes,
first
and
one. The way,
Mad Max Wasteland.
yeah, that one. There's no release date or nothing for that. I was looking on Wikipedia and it says the name of the film and it says TBD, to be decided.
Yeah.
So we know nothing about that one. But I'm going to get into a few inconsistencies here within the series that kind of bug me a little bit, but I can kind of overlook it slightly. As you pointed out, at the end of the second film, the Interceptor gets blown the fuck up.
Hmm.
Now, it's assumed that the wagon thing that he's riding at the beginning of the third film is the wreck of the Interceptor.
No,
No, right, okay, then I got that wrong.
no, it's a converted ute,
Right, okay.
as they call it in Australia. They
Yeah, a
call it
ute, yeah.
dodgy ute.
Okay, but here's the inconsistency for me. Unless Fury Road is supposed to be set before Thunderdome. At the beginning of Fury Road, he's driving the Interceptor.
Yeah, well, it's actually not the Interceptor though, is it? It's
It looks like the original car. It's got the big gas tanks in the back. If you look at it, it's the original car.
oh, sorry, I'm thinking of a different car. Sorry, yep.
Right at the beginning, it's the black on
Mm,
black Interceptor. That is, as it got known later on in different media, it became known as the black on black. But that car, it felt really inconsistent because it's like it got
mm,
trashed in the first film, but you could kind of put the idea of, oh, he fixed it up, got it running again. The second film, like you said, it gets blown the fuck up. The third film, it's absent.
mm.
The fourth film, which I don't know continuity where it's supposed to sit, maybe I hold my hands up. I don't know the continuity on this one. But
Hold on.
like I said, right, go on, carry on. Right at the beginning of the film, he's got the car back. My
Yeah.
question is how? Because it's never explained. And then literally 30 seconds into the film, the car gets trashed again and it's gone again. So it's like, what happened? Maybe it was just that fan service tip of the hat thing. Like, you remember the car you love? There it is. Now it's gone
Yeah.
again. You know, maybe there is that. But I think it's a funky little inconsistency with continuity of where films are supposed to sit in the timeline according to each other.
Yeah. See, this is what I like the difference between two and three. Two, he's got the Interceptor. Three, it gets blown up. Then three, he's driving a converted ute pulled by camels
Yeah.
because shit's got really bad.
Well, apparently,
I think that's brilliant.
from what I looked up online, apparently each film it gets progressively worse because
Yeah,
stuff
it does.
between the films.
Yeah.
And apparently, the general idea is that the first film is like the early days of the collapse.
Mm.
The second film is right after the collapse. The
Yeah.
third film is set basically when those in charge and those in power on their very last days, they were like, boom, 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 on the nuke button.
Mm.
The nuclear war happened in between the second and third film, which is why
Yeah.
things so much drastically worse in the third film than they did in the second film.
Yeah.
Which, okay, that kind of makes sense, but the fact that that's never stated, it kind of makes you go,
Yeah.
how? If society collapsed, then where did the nukes come from? But you've got to think that the presidents and the world leaders would have been hunkered down in bunkers somewhere,
Yeah, exactly.
still with the everything operational.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
No, they'll still have a nuke stockpile. And
Oh yeah, yeah, and they'd still be usable.
oh, bit of the old random trivia because I love it. Apparently, originally in second film, Humongous was originally going to be Goose.
Yes, I do know that bit of trivia, and it is.
All being burned up.
Yeah, I was going to say they never categorically said that it was or it wasn't.
No, they decided against it.
Yeah, they wanted to drop
It's just like
though.
first draft, second draft, and then they sort of
Yeah, But they did say there are little hints that maybe it could be because it's the fact that a lot of his marauders use police-based vehicles.
Yeah, no, that is explained away by the fact that most of the MFP
Became
did the
marauders.
same as Max, just pissed off.
Yeah, that makes sense as well, though. But there are little hints that it could be. There's burn scars behind his
Mm,
mask, the big special hand cannon thing that he uses.
yeah,
That is a
well,
reference.
that's just a 44 Magnum.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, the big gun that he uses,
Mm,
apparently that was supposed to be something that was Goose's or something.
mm,
There was ties and there was supposed to be him, but they left it vague enough that it's like from the audience perspective, if you want that to be Goose, it's Goose.
mm,
But it raises the question of if it was Goose, then why didn't he recognize Max?
mm.
You know,
Maybe you recognise them and just didn't care.
probably he was like, "Oh, you left me in the hospital. I'm going to kill you anyway."
Yeah.
Um,
There's also lots of Mad Max 2 influence dotted about through the history of professional wrestling.
the Legion of Doom, their body armor.
Yeah, originally they were called the Road Warriors, and they looked even more like
Oh yeah, yeah.
Mad Max characters. Ditto Demolition. Uh, Even, do you remember Sid Vicious?
Yes, yes.
Big old Sid Vicious.
Psycho Sid.
Psycho Sid. Before he was in WWE and WCW, he was in Memphis doing the Lord Humongous gig with the Goldie mask
Yes,
and
yes,
everything.
I do. I do remember when I was very, very small. I had the old WCW wrestling figures, the solid plastic ones, and that one had the head mask and the
Hmm?
chest thing in it. Yeah, I do remember that. I do remember
Sid
that.
did have the physique for it, though, bless him.
Oh yeah. Speaking of another influence it's had, we were talking about it earlier. Fallout. If you look at the outfits the Raiders wear in that, where it's like bits of old tires and leather straps and things like that, and their haircuts, it's very
Yeah,
Mad Max inspired. Which, again, when they were making the original Fallout games, Mad Max at that point was already a known thing. So you look for post-apocalyptic
Biggie.
chic,
Mm.
we're going to look at Mad Max.
Yes, yeah.
You know, it's not ripping it off. It's a homage. It's an Easter
Yeah.
egg.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, it's one of the films that just launched the whole dystopian future kind of thing.
Yeah, well, it kind of popularized it. That Mad Max and a couple of other films from that sort of time period in the 1980s really did bring post-apocalyptic settings
Yeah.
to the forefront. I mean, one of the ones that I always think of when I'm thinking post-apocalyptic films is Hell Comes to Frogtown, starring Roddy Piper.
Mm.
You know, WWE wrestler in a film that's post-apocalyptic.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely along those lines. But
Yeah.
circling back round to Mad Max, I do want to quickly talk about it. I will flash up video footage while we're doing this
Mm.
a bit. But there was a video game from 2015 set in the world of Mad Max. Now, the problem is a lot of people thought that this was just a shameless cash grab
Hmm.
for Fury Road coming out because
Yeah.
the game came out, I think, September. The film came out May. So a lot of people are like, oh, it's just a video game of the film. It's going to be barely freaking playable. No, no, no,
Mm.
no. But it's not. I will sing this game's praises because it is, to me, one of those
Mm.
underrated gems from that kind of 10-year ago period of video gaming where a lot of games got overlooked for the big names like Call of Duty, FIFA,
Mm.
all of those kind. This one got sorely overlooked. It's by Arcane Studios, the
Yeah.
yeah, the studio behind Dishonored and Warner Brother Games.
Yeah.
It is a free roaming open world game once you can actually get into certain parts of the map because you need bigger weapons to get through it. But the general premise is it's not based on any of the films. There are references to the films. Like
Mm.
one of the hood ornaments you can get for the car that you drive around is Lord Humongous's mask.
Yeah. Nice.
One of the rear bumper things you can get is the Feral Kids metal boomerang.
Yeah.
You can get things like that. So there are little references dotted here about people when you walk past them in like settlements and stuff will reference things like, oh, I heard you did this. And it's something that happened in one of the films. So it does tie itself to the films very loosely, tells its own story. Max is at the end of his tether. He's got all the supplies and gasoline he can need all in his car. And he's traveling to an area called the Plains of Silence to hopefully stop the noise that's going on in his head. It does play with a lot of mental health stuff within this game. It's very subtle. It's very subtle, but it does play around with the ideas of PTSD and things like that. Like it does. Again, I will sing this game's praises. Combat wise, because there is on foot combat, it plays a bit like the Batman Arkham games. You're not sneaking around jumping on rooftops or nothing like that. But I mean, the actual, it's one button to block and you've got to time it just right. Pressing one button will do an attack, but if you press and hold it, you do a heavy attack. You get a ranged attack with a shotgun. It's very Batman Arkham, but it, like I said, it's from Warner Brother Games.
Exactly. Yeah.
You'd expect that. For me, the best part of this game is the car. You get to build your own car, and you can either build it to look like Max's original Interceptor, which this game does refer to it as the black on black.
Yeah.
Or you can make it however you want. There's different body types, different engines, wheels. You've got this little creepy hunchback dude called Chum Bucket, who hangs out in the back of your car and he throws spears at people and explosives, and he can reload your guns for you. He's basically your little helper. If you've never played the game, I recommend playing it, but when you get to the end, you will cry for Chum Bucket. You really will. But the vehicle combat is amazing. You can knock bits off of cars. Like you can use a harpoon launcher to rip someone's door off, then blast them with a shotgun, and their car will careen off, crash into other cars, and cause them to explode.
Yeah.
So when you're playing these chases and these pursuits, it's very much like what you see in the films. And I love it for that. The graphics alone, again, I will pop up a video somewhere around here for it, so you guys can see it. And I'll send you some stuff when I'm actually playing it and recording the footage for this episode. So you can see what I mean.
Yeah.
Right, so it's a 2015 game, but the graphics, like the actual terrain and scenery, one of the first things you do is you step out onto this like cliffside, and the whole map is laid out in front of you. And it's photo real. It really is photo real.
What system is it on?
It is available on PS4 and Xbox One. Yes. And like I said, if you've not played it, I'd go on the PlayStation Store, guy. Honestly, check it out. You will.
I have a PS4.
Yes. Go and check it out. You will love it. Oh, the one complaint I do have about it, though, is there's a bit right in the middle of the game where you need to upgrade your harpoon grapple launcher thing that's on the back of the car to rip open these gates. Getting the part you need is easy, but you need scrap, which is this game's currency, to be able to buy it. Now, up to this point, a lot of your upgrades have been like 10 scrap, 20 scrap, not much. This one that is blocking your progress to get into the rest of the game, and like I said, it's about halfway through, is 900 scrap. And when you're digging up, like when you're going to different bases and attacking their scrap counts and stuff like that, you get maybe 4 or 5 scrap per thing that you loot.
Yeah.
So you have to literally go to every base you can find and scrounge up as much loot as you can. So it does get a little bit grindy for that part. But the brilliant thing is it kind of rewards you for that, because once you get past that bit, you're not only into a bigger part of the map, but you're also into a part of the map where you can find extra car bodies, extra hood ornaments. There's a section you can go to do races that, if you win them, rewards you with scrap.
Yeah.
So it's like you've got to grind to get through this bit, but then once you do, the game becomes a hell of a lot easier, and you still have to collect scrap, obviously, but it's not oh God, I need to go here and get it. It's just a case of, oh look, scrap, pick it up as you see it. Other other than that, freaking amazing game. The vehicle controls are buttery smooth, but also at the same time a little bit janky.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like depending on the car and depending on the tires, because you're driving on either sand, tarmac, or concrete, you need the right tire for the right surface.
Mm.
So it's all about using the right vehicle on the right terrain. It's sorry, go away. But yeah, Mad Max video game, PS4, Xbox One, underrated gem. If you love Mad Max and you love open world games, highly recommend checking it out. And also, as a little bonus, if you complete the game, you not only unlock Max's original car, you also unlock his original outfit and his original shotgun. So then you can go around completing like side quests and stuff in the original car,
What you mean, like
the Interceptor.
right? I thought you meant like the one from the first movie, the MFP vehicles.
No,
Yeah, the
that,
yellow and
well,
red ones.
you can. I
I
think
love,
there are a couple of modified ones.
I love that.
Yeah, the bright yellow one.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh, and there is also a load of DLC for it as well because the game was sponsored by Rockstar Energy Drinks.
Mm-hmm.
And because thirst is one of the things you have to deal with when you're on foot, you can actually get a car hood ornament that keeps your thirst at a certain level as long as you sat in your car.
Right.
So funny little cross promotion there. But yeah, I think that's about it for our Mad Maxathon.
Yeah, we need to just give a quick shout out to the Ford family
Mm-hmm.
because that's what all the cars were.
Yeah.
It's not a model you could get over here. Unfortunately, it was an Australian only Ford.
Yes, yes.
They're hard to get, but
Some of the cars were actually modelled on a Ford Cortina, weren't they?
no,
Not
they're all the MFP vehicles were Ford Falcons.
Ford, that was it. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Mad Max then, really.
It is, bless it.
We didn't want to give too many spoilers because we try to stay away from that, even though they're older franchises. It's just the fact that a lot of the time when we're talking about these older films, we are just repeating the same thing that everybody else has always said about them.
Yeah.
So we try to bring our personal views and thoughts and opinions to these films rather than just going, yeah, I heard this person say this and I agreed with them.
Mm. Just go out and watch it.
Yes, go out and
Watch them.
watch all four, maybe skip the third one.
Skip the fourth one. Ooh, hot take.
Oh. Right then, I think that's about it. We will, of course, do another recast in the 80s next week. Hopefully, we'll be able to do that one this time.
Be nice, wouldn't it?
First one out the gate, and it just fell flat as fuck. Oh, one thing we didn't talk about. We'll save this rant for the last bit.
Oh, one last thing.
Yeah. Ironically, one. Transformers 1. Guy.
Well, I saw the trailer.
So did
Did
I.
I saw it, and I have one word to say about it. Dog shit. Dog fucking shit.
I watched the trailer a couple of times. I watched it once on my own, and then I showed it to my daughter, and she said the exact same thing I did on watching it the second time round. It gives me Guardians of the Galaxy vibes, and not in a good way.
It gives me Pixar vibes.
It gives me
Not in a good
Pixar
way.
vibes. I don't like the earlier character designs before they get all powered up, like where they're all skinny and kind of and they don't even
Yeah,
transform. I don't like that look of them. The powered up versions look a little bit better. The bit where the bit in the trailer where they're trying to transform and Optimus Prime's head's disappeared, and he's like, "Oh, where's my head?" I was like, "This,
see, I
this
don't need that.
yeah, it was giving me serious Guardians of the Galaxy vibes all the way through. The jokes, the visuals, casting.
And
Don't get
look who's in it. They've got to have Bumblebee. They've always got to have fucking Bumblebee. Fuck off, Bumblebee, for
I,
once.
I,
Fuck off.
my big complaint with Bumblebee in this one is he's very much that dumb, funny comic relief character, and that's never been Bumblebee. That's
No.
never been Bumblebee. No, no disrespect to Keegan Michael Keyes, who I think he's doing the voice of Bumblebee in this one. No disrespect to him, but the minute I saw that bit where he gets punched in the face and the battle mask popped down, he's like, "Oh look, I got a battle mask," and this guy, what happened when this guy went to cut some guy's head off? He's like, "I have
Mm.
knife hands." I was like,
Yeah,
"What are you doing?"
this is going to be shit.
The only thing that I can actually say was a positive in this trailer is I think the casting of Scarlett Johansson as Alita 1 works for me because that character throughout the history of Transformers has always been that very serious, very down to earth, very authoritarian, well, not authoritarian, but very, you know, do things
Mm.
by the book kind of thing. And when I see the clips where she's talking, I'm like, you know what? I'm not pissed off with that. I think they could have chosen someone a little bit better, but that's a
Mm.
perfectly fine casting choice. The voice choice for Optimus Prime and Megatron,
Don't.
just, I'm sorry, no, no disrespect to the actors, but no,
No, we've been through this.
yeah,
And
no.
now I've seen the trailer.
I've seen the trailer as well, and just,
And I'm not. I'm sorry, but
I'm not impressed.
no,
I'm not impressed enough to go and see it.
no,
It's
neither
one of
am I.
those. It is definitely one of those. I will wait for a streaming service to show this to watch it. I'm not gonna.
I don't think I'm going to do that.
Uh, I
I
just
don't. I'm just. They've not. They've not got me.
no, no. It seems like I said the jokes and the setups seem very Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, I
The
don't need that.
the animation
Sorry.
I don't like. The humor for me, a lot of it fell flat. I can see
Mm.
where some of it would appeal to certain people, like the whole Bumblebee bumbling and cutting someone's head off by accident and all that. I
It's not just that.
yeah,
It's got to be so pushed in every fucking film.
yeah.
Push someone else.
There
Push
are other
Paul.
characters. I mean,
Push Hound. Push Jazz.
I was just about to say not to be that fangirl, but there's Rodimus, there's Hound, there's Cup, there's RC,
Oh, fuck Rob.
there's there's the Streak brothers, Blue Streak, Smoke Streak, and Underpants Streak.
Smoke Street. Smoke Screen.
Whatever, but you know those three or four car
Prowl, Blue Street, Smoke Screen. The
you know
Fair
what,
Ladies.
Prowl, all them lot. There's plenty other characters in the Transformers library they pull to. I
Yeah.
get it. You need your Optimus and you need your Megatron because they're the driving forces. They're the opposing sides. They're the bad good guy versus bad guy. But the supporting cast just recently has always been Bumblebee. Bumblebee.
Bumblebee,
Jazz,
Bumblebee.
God bless him, showed up in the original Michael Bay film and got fucking ripped in half, and we've never seen him since.
Mm.
And Mirage, this is my one about Rise of the Beast. That's not Mirage. That's Jazz's design. You've given Mirage his name. Fuck off.
Yeah. Or in Dark of the Moon where they got Dino. No, that's Sideswipe.
Yeah. Yeah. And the
Yeah.
Dinobots in Age of Extinction just that was not Grimlock. Anyway, we're ranting about Transformers now. That's a thing for another episode. But yeah, we forgot to mention that earlier, and my brain kind of circled back to it as like,
Yeah.
we're supposed to talk about that. But yeah, Transformers One, I'm not looking impressed. I'm gonna wait for a streaming service. I'm not gonna rush out to go and see it.
I'm not even going to do that. Sorry, I'm just not. They've lost me.
I'm gonna wait for the reviews because I mean, for all we know, other than the aesthetic of it, the storyline might be a saving grace for it. We don't know until it comes out. We just don't know. And if it gets
No,
critical praise, I might check it out. But
no,
usually with films like this, when people start going, this, and this is wrong with it, that's the moment where I'll go, back burner.
no.
Right
Sorry,
on
I'm
the back
done. I'm
burner.
Duncan Valentine on this. I'm out. That's it.
But there we go then. So that has been our episode for tonight.
It has.
Thank you very much, everyone.
I'll say goodbye. Bye 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 bye
Good
bye bye bye.
night, sweetheart.
Do you think?
I'm having a drink.
All right then. Fucking don't do you think then?
Good night, my sweet tortured souls. I have been Miss Violet Impulse.
You have.
He has been the random man, Guy
I have.
JB. And remember, if you can't be good, be twisted. Don't get mad, baby. Get fucking
Yeah,
sadistic.
cause
Mwah. Good night. Goodbye. Mwah. See y'all next week. Bye.
Bye bye.